This is not random. You didn't find this reading. It found you at the exact moment something started shifting again. And you felt it, not clearly, not logically, but enough to pause, because something in your life, something you thought was already over, just moved again. You told yourself it ended, you convinced yourself, you moved on, but here's the truth you didn't fully admit. It never had a real ending. In 2026, it's not letting you ignore that anymore. Energy of the earth this year feels different in a way you can't escape. Not louder, not more chaotic, more precise, more intentional, like something is slowly closing in. You may notice it in small moments, a thought that comes back at the wrong time, a memory that feels too real, a name that suddenly doesn't feel distant anymore. This isn't coincidence, this is a loop reopening. Because there are emotional threads still attached to you. And no matter how far you move forward, you can still feel where they pull. And here's the uncomfortable part, you can't build something stable while part of you is still connected to something unresolved. This year carries a very specific pattern. Return, recognition, release a bit. Not in a straight line. Not clean. Not easy. At the beginning, you thought you understood everything. You felt clear. Grounded. Done. I know what I want now. I won't repeat the same thing again. And you meant it. But clarity isn't always truth. Sometimes it's just distance. Because underneath that clarity, there was still something you didn't fully look at, something you didn't want to question. And now, it's coming back, not dramatically. Not all at once, but in a way you can't ignore. What's coming? There will be moments this year when the past stops feeling like the past. It feels present. Active. Close. And that's when confusion starts, because part of you will think, why now? You were fine, you were moving forward, you weren't even thinking about it like before. But suddenly, it's there again. You may reconnect with someone, or maybe you won't. Maybe it won't be physical at all, but emotionally, it will feel like nothing ever fully left. And that's what unsettles you, because you thought you processed it, you thought you understood it. But what you actually did was move forward without fully facing it. And now the energy is different. You are different. You don't react the same way, you don't see things the same way. And because of that, you're about to see the truth behind what really happened. Not the version you created to move on, the real one. And here's where the tension builds. You may understand everything and still feel something. Your mind will say, I know better now. But something deeper will whisper, then why is it still here? And that question will follow you. Quietly. Constantly. You'll be living your life, moving forward. Growing. Building something new. But every now and then, something pulls your attention back. A memory you didn't expect. A pattern you suddenly recognize. A person you thought you were done with. And each time it happens, it shows you something you didn't see before. A detail. A truth. A realization. Piece by piece, the full picture starts forming. And it won't match the story you told yourself, because this was never as simple as, it ended. It paused before you understood it. And now, you're ready. Build suspense. Transition. But here's the part you're not fully prepared for. What if this isn't coming back to be fixed? What if it's coming back to show you something you completely missed? What if the connection wasn't the point, but what it revealed about you was? And what if the reason you can still feel it is because a part of you is still inside that story? Because in the next part, you're going to see the truth you avoided before, the part that didn't make sense back then, but will change everything now. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it. This is not random. Hidden truth. The truth is, you didn't lose them. You lost the version of yourself that existed with them. And that's why it still feels unfinished. Not because the connection needs to come back, but because a part of you never fully left it. This wasn't just a moment. It was a turning point. One that quietly changed how you see everything now. How you trust. How you open. How you decide what is real. And what only feels real. And back then, you didn't fully see it. You couldn't. There was too much emotion. Too much hope. Too much you were trying to hold together. So you explained it in a way that helped you move on. You blamed the timing, the situation, them, maybe even yourself. But none of those explanations were complete, because the deeper truth, this connection mirrored you. The part of you that needed more, but accepted less. The part of you that felt something wasn't right, but stayed anyway. The part of you that hoped it would become something else, if you just held on a little longer. And now, you can finally see it, clearly, without emotional distortion. Without the story you told yourself just to make it easier. You are starting to recognize where you ignored yourself, where you overgave, where you stayed past the moment you already knew, and this clarity doesn't hit all at once. It comes in layers. Each time you feel this connection again, you don't fall into it the same way. You see something new, a detail you missed, a truth you avoided, a pattern you didn't recognize before. Until one moment, everything clicks, and you realize it was never about losing them. It was about slowly losing yourself while trying to keep something that was never fully aligned. And that realization, it changes everything. Personal message: this part is just for you. Listen carefully. You've changed more than you think. You don't wait the same way anymore. You don't ignore the same signals. You don't confuse intensity with meaning the way you used to. But here's the part you might not want to admit. A small part of you still reacts like nothing changed. It still remembers how it felt. It still wonders. It still asks quiet questions you don't always answer. And that's okay. That doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you're human. But now, you are in a different position. You see more. You understand more. You feel the difference between what is real and what just pulls you emotionally. And that gives you something you didn't have before. A real choice. Not whether they come back. Not whether the connection returns, but whether you go back to who you were when it happened. And this time, you don't have to. You don't have to over-explain, overweight, overgive. You don't have to stay in something just because it once felt important. You can finally decide what stays, what goes, what deserves your energy, and what only survived because you kept holding it. And that decision, that's your closure. Pick a card. Don't choose with your mind. Choose the one that makes you feel something, even if you don't understand why. Card 1, card 2, card 3, card 1. This is about something that almost became real, and that almost stayed with you longer than the connection itself. You replayed it, reimagined it, tried to understand where it shifted. But this year shows you something clearly. It didn't fail because of timing. It didn't fail because of one mistake. It never fully had what it needed to become real. And once you see that, the illusion of what could have been disappears. Not painfully, but permanently. Card 2. This is about emotional attachment that outlived the reality. The feeling stayed, even when the connection didn't. You held on to the emotional version of it, not what it actually was. And now you're being shown the difference, clearly. The difference between what you felt and what was actually happening, and that clarity. It breaks the attachment, not suddenly, but deeply. Card 3. This is about a connection that truly changed you. And that's why it stayed. Not because you need it back, but because it became part of how you see yourself. But here's the shift. You don't need to live inside that story anymore. You can take what it gave you, without staying connected to what it took from you. And that's where your freedom is. Ending. So Aries, this is not over yet, but not because it's coming back to continue. It's coming back so you can finally see it without illusion, without the version you created to survive it, without the hope that kept you tied to it, without the confusion that made you question yourself. Because once you truly see it, you stop feeling pulled, not because you stop caring, but because you finally understand. And understanding is what releases you. You won't feel the same pull. You won't replay the same questions. You won't stay in the same emotional loop. You'll feel something quieter, something stable, something real, freedom, because the moment you understand the past, you stop needing to return to it. And that's what this year is really doing. Not bringing it back to restart, but bringing it back so you can finally walk away consciously. This was never random. You just weren't ready to see it before.